Hi peaches, it's Shaaba, welcome back to my channel and thank you for clicking on another video. If this isn't your first rodeo, you know what time it is. It's time to go fishing for some a-holes, that is right. It is that weekly segment where we take a look at the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? We do it because it's a little bit of juicy drama. It helps us expand our own mindsets and hopefully helps some other people along the way. Either the people who've done these posts or anyone else who might be in a similar situation. So take my advice because I clearly don't use it and let's go diving deep into some a-holes. Am I the asshole for not giving up my equipment at the gym? You know, already I can see this from 2 points of view. I am that person who's like, stop pressuring me when I am doing my thing at the gym. These are the multiple machines that I recall really loving, but always being used. The pull down and the mermaid one, I don't know what it's called, but it's like the bar where you could just like put your body down and back up again like this. But never the treadmill. No, those demons from hell were always bloody free, weren't they? But then I also see it from the other point of view where I'm like, I need to use that machine and you've been on it for like 45 minutes. Dude, what are we doing? Let's read on. I rent a flat in a building which contains a small communal gym for the benefit of the residents. That's cute. The gym contains several cardio machines, a leg press machine. I love leg press. My friends at school used to call it the baby making machine because we'd sit like that and be like, push! And a couple of benches with some free weights, dumbbells, kettlebells, nothing fancy. I was on the elliptical cross trainer this morning. I was about a third of the way through my workout when a man entered the gym with a group of 6 to 7 people. That's intimidating, especially for a tiny gym. You're not an asshole for doing it, but I'd be like, what is going on? After about 30 seconds, he started waving his hand in front of my face to get my attention. It's possible he was trying to talk to me before this, but I was wearing noise-cancelling headphones, so I wouldn't have heard him. The conversation went something like this. Hi, I'm trying to run a gym induction, but it's difficult to talk with the thonk 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 of your machine. Would you mind moving to a treadmill? But then you wouldn't have the thonk 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 of a machine, you'd have the thonk 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 of the feet landing on the belt. Also, they're in the gym. I'm not sure I would take to that very kindly. Me. Sorry, but I was here first. I rent a flat here and have as much right to use the gym as everyone else. And very rightly so. Him. I could really do with you moving. The noise is making it hard for people to hear. Me. Not my problem. Sorry, mate. After that, I carried out with the rest of my workout and he continued his induction. There was a time when I would have meekly shuffled off to another machine, but I think I'm becoming more disagreeable in my old age. Am I the asshole? I'm gonna go with no assholes here. I'm looking and I'm not seeing a huge problem. I don't think the guy was particularly rude. If he was trying to get your attention beforehand and you had headphones on, fair enough, where he'd be like, hello, trying to speak with you. He has the right to bring people in. You have the right to use the gym. He didn't react, or you haven't written about him reacting in a really negative way after that interaction. It sounds perfectly pleasant to me. You were like, hey, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna stay. And he seems to have continued his induction. I don't think it's an assholey thing for people to ask for something that they want, and I think this is a good lesson. If you don't want to give that, then you're able to very healthily assert your boundaries and somebody else can very healthily respect those boundaries. This sounds to me like a very ordinary interaction. Am I wrong? Am I not seeing something assholey here that should be assholey? I do think it's weird that the guy doing the induction thought that a treadmill would be less noisy and felt entitled to ask you to move, but then when you said you weren't going to move, he didn't sort of like disrespect that. So I don't know, I'm gonna say it wasn't an assholey move. I think if he'd done something more afterwards, be like, ugh, then yeah, sure, it would have been arseholey. So no, I don't think you were the arsehole for not moving. You were perfectly entitled to stay. And I don't think that the other person was an arsehole for asking. I personally don't think he should have asked, but fair enough, like ask a question. And he also then didn't get rude or disrespect you when you gave an answer that he didn't particularly desire. So yay, interacting. Not the arsehole. And I'd also like to argue that some might say, including me, that treadmills are far louder than the elliptical machine, especially when I'm on it. If I'm on a treadmill, I'd be like, ugh, ugh. Whereas I quite like the elliptical. So there you go. Not the arsehole. It's like asking a zoo to smell less. Gyms are noisy and smelly, might I add. Not the arsehole. You could have stopped and then told the people the one thing about the gym is that periodically some jerk will make you stop exercising because he wants to tell people about the gym. That felt like a relatively mild one. We're like on a green on the Nando's spice chart right now. Am I the asshole for not going downstairs to pick up my order? Ooh, like Deliveroo style. Depends how many stairs there are. I just had an unusual encounter with an Uber Eats driver. I ordered a pizza like 9-10 p.m. I had a busy day and I ordered in. It took some time to get here, but no worries, the driver was like 5 minutes away. He said, I'll arrive in 2 minutes, come downstairs. I replied to him saying, you can ring my number, implying that he can just hand it over there. He kept sending messages that I've arrived, which I ignored because I didn't want to deal with that. I didn't have my shoes on or anything, and I didn't feel like going downstairs. FYI, I live in an apartment building on the first floor with an elevator. After 3 minutes after his last text saying that I've arrived, he rang my doorbell, so I opened the entrance door for him. He came up and started shouting my name loudly through the hallway and saying things like, "Are you too effing lazy to come downstairs to pick up your order?" No. I've had a lot of deliveries today. No. I took the pizza and just shut the door because I was kind of shocked by his reaction and I felt threatened. Now I'm wondering, am I the arsehole for not going downstairs late to pick up a delivery? I understand that he had a long day, so did I. This to me sounds like that Netflix show Beef. Have you seen it? Okay, I'm gonna say not the arsehole for this one. Yeah, I feel pretty okay with that conviction. And here's why. I totally appreciate that delivery drivers do this a lot, but also it is their job, right? To deliver it to a house, especially if there's an elevator, and especially if you are on the first floor. If you're like on the 7th floor and there's no elevator, I don't know why I'm saying elevator. I'm British. Lift. Within reason, I wouldn't make a delivery driver go so far out of their way if I was perfectly capable of getting the food myself. So for example, if I was like on the 7th floor of a flat and the lift was broken, then I would probably go downstairs to pick it up from the door to save the delivery driver the hassle. Having said that, it is their job. And you also don't know the condition of the people who are ordering as a delivery driver, right? Like that person might be shielding. That person might be unwell. That person might be disabled in some way and not able to travel down for whatever reason. That person might have a baby that they didn't want to leave alone in a house. That's why they're ordering in instead of going out. And if it's on the first floor and you had a lift, the delivery driver should have just done that. Though I will say I've never heard like a definitive rule either way. Whenever I'm in a flat type situation, it really is 50-50 as to whether people like go down or wait. I know some friends who literally just wait and some friends who do go down. The only flat that I lived in was on the ground floor. It was very easy for me to just like open the door and walk the 2 meters that it was to the door to be like, "Hi, this is your food." So I'm useless. I'm sorry. But one thing that I do know is that you don't deserve those harsh words coming from a delivery driver, for them to be shouting up and down your hallway where other people, your local community, can hear, to say something that rude when there is no definitively set rule. That is definitely them being an asshole, not you. Little story time. We once had a delivery driver where our road was fine, but the road coming onto our road had a bit of a road closure, and unless you came sort of like round the other way, it's hard to explain, but there were 2 entrances to the road that led to our road. One was shut off, and that happened to be the one that the delivery driver used. We were like totally not aware that that road was shut, and so we were looking on the little Deliveroo tracker, and the person was like at that bit of the road for a while, and we were like, oh, maybe they've like stopped to, I don't know, answer a phone call or get food or something, and then they were walking really slowly down other roads. So after like 10 minutes of looking very confused and sending messages, not having messages back, we went out to the delivery driver because we saw the little pin. They were on the road next to ours, and we were like, "Hey, you have our delivery. Is everything okay?" And they shouted out so bad. They were like, "You didn't say there was a road closure." And we were like, "We didn't know there was a road closure." And then he spit on Jamie's shoe. And I was so mad. I could not believe that that had happened. And honestly, the way that I reacted to that, I'm pretty sure will be different depending on like how you found me that day. On that day, I was feeling very zen. So I was just like, didn't say anything. And then I justified it in my head by saying, you know what? This person is clearly having a really bad day. And I'm not. And I have food and I get to go to my warm house and they're continuing a shift. So maybe just leave this one be. This was basically my very long-winded way of saying that maybe this delivery driver was also not having a fantastic day. And I know you weren't having a good day either, but sometimes live and let live. Mother Karma also sorts stuff out, you know? So, like, I have faith in her, and I would also have faith in knowing that OP, you are not the asshole, and you can just move on. Being really happy with the little takeaway. I hope it tastes really good. Not the asshole! He is inappropriate and out of line. I don't blame him for being annoyed, but he's no right to express that annoyance to you as a paying customer. If you're lazy, then so is he. Neither of you wanted to walk. If he was so pressed for time, he should have just delivered your order with haste instead of waiting downstairs on a message reply. Ooh, that is one thing that I would say. Maybe a tiny asshole move of OP here is to not have responded to the message. I'll just be really honest. I would have continued to have responded to be like, please come up, I cannot go down, or I do not wish to go down. And the reason I would have done that is because I would have been afraid that he would have then just driven off with my food. Fear-led decision making, yay! Everybody sucks here. Ooh, you for making the scenario more difficult. He also did the exact same. Him also for his reaction and swearing, especially. If I had to pick one person to blame though, it would be him for being unprofessional to that extent. Interesting. Oh my goodness, you are the asshole, says somebody else. We're very divided. We have all the badgers here today. You ordered something that couldn't be asked to at least be helpful with the delivery person. You ignored his messages because I didn't want to deal with that. I'd be pissed too if I had a job like that and customers like you. Just shows though, isn't it, that like everybody's coming from a different place. place. Everybody's probably coming at this not only with different perspectives, but also with different statuses and feelings of their very heavy day. That in itself, I think, is a lesson. Sometimes the decisions that we make reflect not just who we are, but the moment that we are in. And that is an important thing to remember. Ooh, spicy. Yeah, we definitely knocked it up. I feel like it was still mild. Maybe we're in like garlic barbecue piri land. We need a spicy one. Am I the arsehole for not letting my ex-husband visit our son whilst he was in the hospital? Ooh, that sounds a little spicier. My ex-husband and I have a 6-year-old son. Oh, was your 6-year-old son in the hospital? This is really sad. We divorced a little less than a year ago after some actions on his part. He was with another woman. Thank you for the context. I got majority custody. He gets to see him every other weekend. My lawyer advised me not to allow my ex to have any contact whatsoever with my son outside of custody time, as he could then use that to get more for himself. I can see where this is going and it's tricky. A month ago, my son got appendicitis and spent 3 days in the hospital. It was very routine. He was never in any real danger. My ex wanted to visit him, but I reminded him that it wasn't his custody time and he had no right to do that. I did eventually allow a short phone call, both because my son had been asking and because my ex was threatening to get the courts involved. My son is fine now, and he's practically forgotten that it ever happened. My ex, however, has been hounding my lawyer, saying that he has the right to visit my son when he is sick. I expected most people to be on my side after how our marriage ended, but most people have been saying that I was cruel. Even my divorce friends said that they would have let him come. But I don't want him having any excuse to take my son away from me more than he already does, or allow him to weasel his way out of child support. My gut is saying, yeah, you are the asshole. Oh Lord, this is spicy and this feels not fantastic. Let me explain why I feel this way. I am a child of divorce. I had parents who were in a very messy divorce battle. It wasn't pleasant, and there were so many times where I was growing up from the age of like 5 when things started to get quite messy, all the way to now, all the way to seriously like around my wedding, like, which was just last year, where, you know, things still come up. It isn't nice to feel like you're in the middle. As a 6-year-old as well, if a 6-year-old is asking for a parent, like the other parent, my only thought would be like, of course, you have every right to ask and want to see this other parent. Unless that parent has been mean or abusive in some way to the child, then obviously that's a very different matter. But it seems that ex-husband, so dad and mum, have an issue with each other. Dad had no issue with like the kid, and so the kid has no part to play in that. And I think that if the kid is asking for the dad, then the kid should be able to see the dad, especially in a situation being in hospital. Sure, you might feel like it's very routine. Even then I would question it, because, you know, like, routine surgeries can still go wrong. There's sepsis, there's infections, and appendicitis has gone wrong so many different times. As a child, you also don't understand the concept of what's routine and rather, you know, minor versus very life-threatening and a very major surgery. You're in hospital, you're having an operation, you want to see your dad, you should get to see your dad. And I would also say, if the shoe was on the other foot, right, if my child was in hospital, even when my cat goes to the vet, and it's not like something super major, I worry. You just don't know. It's not nice to know that something, as I'm talking about cat in this instance, but, you know, a loved one is going through something that you're not in any control to sort of make it feel better. Yeah, for all of those reasons, I absolutely would have let the dad stay. I do appreciate the court issue, and I appreciate as well that sometimes people can be really manipulative, and in those situations you need to draw boundaries. If that's the case, perhaps there's more context to this that I'm not understanding, and that would change my opinion slightly. If, say, for example, the dad had a track record of trying to weasel more time, and in doing so then when, but because of this, you know, I get this, or I get to see the child more than the other parent gets to see the child, or I get to now not have to pay money because of this legal loophole. Like, no, wood from the trees, you are both responsible for financially supporting this child, you're both responsible for still being parents in some way. But if that was the case, and that's what I was concerned about, the very first thing that I would be doing would be getting on the phone to the lawyer and being like, hey, my son is in the hospital for a routine surgery, he's asking for the dad, I feel like my son has every right to see this parent, but I am concerned for those consequences, what should I do? And I'm pretty sure in that situation there would be a loophole where the lawyer would say, yes, of course, in hospital situations the dad can come and visit, it would be seen as an exception to the rule. Or if that doesn't exist and that's not a loophole, at least then you would know, and then you'd be able to communicate that to the dad, you know, in a way that gave an authority that wasn't just you making that assumption. I definitely think that that's, in this situation, OP hasn't been the best co-parent here, and it was a little bit cruel, considering the context that we have been given. Ooh, I feel bad for judging on something like this, because, I mean, I know it's on a public forum, literally inviting people to share their opinion. At the same time, I don't like it when custody battles go a little bit sour, and I also question why any parent feels like they have the right to the majority time, to the point where they're like, no, I don't want you to see them. How long do they see? He gets to see him every other weekend and you have the majority. If the only breakdown of the relationship is that there's another woman involved, your husband has fallen in love, made connections that were outside the boundaries of your marriage, and it had nothing to do with his fatherhood, I get that it speaks to his character in some ways, but on this top level, without knowing further details, it does make me question why you feel you have the right to so much of that extra time. I just think if a child wants to see more of another parent and there's no decent reason where they've been a bad parent to the child to stop that, then that should just be allowed to happen. Ooh. What do you think, my loves? Let me know downstairs in the comment section. Please be kind. That is all I ask, always. You are the asshole. When your child's in the hospital, you should be allowed to visit them. Don't weaponize a child. Yup. Sounds like you care more about money than your son's well-being. You are the asshole majorly, says someone else. You're the asshole. When your shared child is sick in the hospital, it's definitely not the time to flex your muscles. Talk to your lawyer about custody and medical events. Your son wanted his dad, and I think the dad is right in contacting his lawyer about this incident. Ooh, seems pretty definitive on the forum. I definitely think this one was spicier. We're certainly medium and above, but not controversial. I do love that phrase, don't weaponize a child. I think that's so important. And that's probably a good place to end today's video. If you enjoyed this video, my loves, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I'll see you next time with another video. Be kind and have a great day. Bye.